everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the individual mandate, which is a policy that requires most individuals and legal citizens to obtain health care coverage. And I'm actually going to start off with a really quick story. My sister went to the ER this weekend. She had a lot of abdominal pain, and they actually discovered an ovarian cyst in her. But she had same-day surgery, and she got it removed, so it was okay. But that surgery cost her $6,000, which she didn't really have to pay because she has health insurance. But today I want to think about the people that don't have health insurance and that cost that they would have to pay. And usually those people are actually young adults. So ages 20 to 25 are historically very uninsured or have high uninsurance rates. And you can see over the past 5 years that rate has kind of gone down, but usually young adults are always kind of the peak of uninsurance. And this is from the U.S. Census Bureau. So I want you all to think about yourself and your friends and what it means to be uninsured and what costs you could potentially face. And today I'm going to start off with an analogy and then talk about the rationale behind the individual mandate and how it was applied to our U.S. healthcare system. So a quick rationale, drivers try to avoid potholes while they're driving, right? So potholes are kind of like illnesses that you and I may face. And sometimes drivers hit potholes. It's completely random, just like getting sick is really random. And we try to avoid those potholes, right, by swerving when we're driving. And we also try to avoid getting sick by vaccinations and washing our hands. But in the end, you know, when we hit potholes or when we get sick, these things cost money. And so there's two different perspectives that I want you guys to look at this pothole analogy through. The first is the own-up perspective, where each driver pays for the road damage that they caused by hitting that pothole and creating more damage. And that's kind of like uninsured patients. They have to pay completely for their healthcare costs. And the second perspective is the it happens perspective. So this one's more like, everyone does it, we're going to all pay a little bit into a mutual fund. And that way, potholes can always get repaired. There's always money to fix them. And this is more like the individual mandate. So the individual mandate, as I said before, is that policy that requires people to have health insurance, right? And the rationale behind it is that researchers thought that if there was a pool, right, there's a pool of members of a health insurance company, that pool is always, ideally should always look like the general population in terms of who's sick and who's healthy, for that health insurance company to operate correctly, financially, and not go bankrupt. So if 20% of the general population is sick, you want at most 20% of your health insurance pool of members to be sick at a time. And where the individual mandate comes into this is that as the individual mandate is enacted, most of the general population has to now get insurance. And so as a result, all health insurance pools kind of reflect the general population. And so before the individual mandate, right, health insurance companies have to screen people. They have to say, oh, are you diabetic? Did your mom have breast cancer? Do you live in a certain zip code where people are more prone to injuries? And they would use this in order to say, okay, we can give you health insurance, or okay, we can give you health insurance at a higher rate, or maybe not you for our certain pool. But with the individual mandate, because everyone's lumped into it, then health insurance companies can take everyone who wants health insurance because they know that they won't get bankrupt by it. So the first time the individual mandate was put into policy in the United States was in Massachusetts when Mitt Romney was governor in 2007. And this is from the New England Journal of Medicine. And that first dashed line is when the individual mandate was put in for their state. And the second dashed line kind of shows you how many healthy patients opted into health insurance. So it kind of proves that everyone's rationale behind this policy worked out correctly. We see that we have a lot of healthy people opting into health insurance, and therefore that offsets the cost for the health insurance company to pay for the chronically ill patients, and so that health insurance company should be able to survive favorably. So Obama and other politicians saw this, and they decided to put the individual mandate into the ACA, right? And so through the ACA, the individual mandate was put into effect in 2014, and they decided that they would have this kind of way to find people that did not have health insurance, right? Because the fine would then be an incentive for people to opt in. And so the fine was calculated through two methods. It was either $695 per adult, or it was 2.5% of yearly household income. And whichever fee was higher, it would be placed on the individual who does not have health insurance to kind of incentivize them to get health insurance in the next year. So this is 2014, and on the right here is 2015. And this is a graph from the Congressional Research Service. And what they saw is that in the tax returns, which is where people would usually pay their penalty fine for being uninsured, originally in 2014, that was at 5.4% of people that were filing tax returns were paying this penalty fine. So therefore, 5.4% were uninsured, right? But then just a year later, we see that that's only 4.5%, right at the top here for the United States. So 4.5% of the United States a year later were saying that they were uninsured. And therefore, there's about 1.9, I believe, percent decrease in the uninsured rate. So with the individual mandate put into effect in 2014, we see that the uninsured rates are going down. And furthermore, over 2014 and 2015, there was $4.8 billion raised in revenue from all these penalty fines, and that went towards programs like Medicare, Medicaid, other healthcare programs to make sure that people that couldn't really afford Medicare or couldn't really afford healthcare, or the seniors in our population would be able to get quality healthcare as well. And so last December, the individual mandate was actually repealed. And what you're looking at is a CNN screenshot of their newscast. This is December 19th of 2017, and they're talking about the Congressional Budget Office's predictions for what this repeal means. And basically, the CBO predicted that premiums will rise by 10% over the next decade with the repeal of this mandate. And also, 1 in 100 people will become uninsured within 1 year of the repeal, since it goes into effect in 2019. And then by 2027, that will be 4 in every 100 individuals become uninsured as a result of this repeal. So it affects everyone in this room, because we might be looking for health insurance or looking to keep ours, or possibly affected in the way that we would become uninsured as a result of this repeal. So it's something that we all have to really think about when looking into our future in health care. So today I wanted to offer you all a quick oversight of the individual mandate and show you a policy that makes health care a public good like roads. Thank you.